Get ready with me while I tell you guys about the worst date I have ever been on in my entire life. Now, I met this guy on Bumble, and he started off really nice. He was in the military, which was red flag, I guess, #1. But I was in Connecticut, and he was going to be going back to his unit in just a few days because he lived and was stationed in Tennessee. So this wasn't going to be anything. I was just like, might as well see where this goes, and if it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The date that I'm about to tell you guys was not our first date. We had 3 dates consecutively in a row. First date, we went to the beach, and he was super nice. He was a little quiet, but he gave really good vibes, and I had no suspicions or anything. Nothing was weird. And then the second date, we actually went to the beach, and the second date we went for breakfast, and again, he was very nice, very respectful. So on this said date, the plan was that he wanted to surprise me with a date. So he was going to he was picking out a bunch of places that were meaningful to him. And at every place that we went, it was a place, and then he was gonna do a sound and something to taste, I believe. So he went really all out and was like super into the date, which I thought was so sweet. And the reason he did this was because he wanted me to get to know him really well before he left, so that way I could be like, yeah, I like you, no I don't. And he was kind of just laying all his cards out there, which I thought was awesome. First place that he took me to the town that he grew up in, which was like the next town over from mine, and he brought me on the boardwalk there. He had me drink kombucha, and then he gave me a song that was like really impactful and meaningful to him at the time, and we just sat there and listened to the song while we drank our kombucha and talked and whatever, and it was really sweet. Surprisingly, it wasn't awkward being around him. I don't want to go through all the places. I guess I'll just go to the first time that I saw the red flag. Now, I think this was like probably the 3rd stop that we went to. This place called Devil's Hop Yard that was near our area, and I had actually never been there, but it was like super popular. A lot of people went like hiking and whatnot there, and so he brought me there because apparently this is like the place that he, you know, would go with his friends and he would hike a lot. I didn't know what we were doing, so I brought a backpack with a change of clothes because he did tell me to bring a change of clothes, and he told me to wear athletic clothing. He told me to put a couple things, or asked if he could put a couple things in my backpack. So the things that he put in my backpack was a knife. He put rope, like it was like not a normal knife. It was like this big old freaking scary looking knife and this rope, and he gave me I think his iPad and a couple other things. I think his AirPods were in there or whatever, and he was just putting a bunch of stuff in my backpack, and I was sitting there and I was like, okay, you know, like, why would, you're literally about to go hike into the woods alone, and this guy is putting a knife and rope in the bag, and you just met him on Bumble 3 days ago. Why would you be scared? Why would you think anything of it? Well, in my naive self, I did not. I just blindly trusted him, and I was like, come on, let's go for this hike. So at the time, it was like really hot out, and I was not feeling like hiking all the way to the top. So I was like, hey, why don't we just like stop here? It was like, yeah, this seems like a perfect place to stop. And I kind of felt bad, but I didn't really want to be too far away from cars, because in the back of my mind, I was thinking about how he just had put all this stuff in my bag, and I had no idea who he was. So I wanted to stay semi-close to people, which like closer to the entrance of the thing, so if I screamed, you know, somebody would hear me. Now, nothing surprisingly went wrong. It was actually nice. For this sound, he played me a song that he wrote when he was like younger, obviously trying to let me get to know him. So it was actually kind of sweet. Went to the beach after that, and he brought me to like one of the beaches that that I was really familiar with, and he always went to, and it was nice. And there was nothing majorly wrong. There's no red flags, but this was the last date that I'd be able to see him. Like, this was the last time I was going to be able to see him. So he was leaving, I think, either like 2 days after or the next day. This was in the summer. It was at the beginning of July, and he wasn't going to be able to leave to come back home and visit until Christmas. I was, you know, starting to like him. He was very sweet, and I was kind of bummed because I wasn't planning on like actually liking him, because I was like, well, how much can you like somebody who doesn't even live, like, he literally was living 19 hours away from where I live, so it's like, how can you really get to know somebody and date somebody if they're not even close to you? But yeah, so I was kind of bummed that I was starting to like him, And so he brings me to all these other places. We end the night, and granted, he picked me up, I think, a little bit before 9 o'clock. And when he dropped me off at home, it was midnight. So we literally spent all day together doing this date. And the only red flags that he pretty much gave me were the fact that he was putting knives and stuff in my backpack, and he was in the military. So those were only, like, you know, kind of like things where I was like, ding, 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 you know, maybe something's not right here. Anywhoosies, he pulls up in front of my mom's house, and we're saying goodbye, and he was super respectful. So I don't even think, at the beach was the first time he even touched me. So, like, at the beach, we were pretending to throw each other in, and then he, like, pulled me out of the water and, like, grabbed me, like, around my waist, but he didn't, like, touch me. He literally, like, bear hugged me around my waist. So he was super respectful. He didn't try making a move or anything like that whatsoever. But I was sitting in the car, and I was like, well, this is the last time I'm gonna see you until Christmas, possibly, and I like you, so I'm gonna make a move. Now, I was not the type of person to make a move ever in my entire life. I always let the guys make the first move. I never want to embarrass myself or anything like that. But I was like, no, you know what? I feel comfortable. Like, I feel like I know him well enough, and I just want to give him a little sweet kiss goodbye. We had literally spent all day together. We spent the last 2 days together. In my head, I didn't think anything of it. Well, I go to give this man a kiss. I look over at him, and I'm like, are you going to do it already? And he goes, do what? And I don't know where this courage came from. It came from the depths of my soul. I go and I grab the back of this man's neck, and I go to pull him in to kiss me, and he does an entire body roll. So we're sitting in the car, he body rolls, smacks his head into the window, and rolls down this door like that. And I sit there, and I realize I just messed everything up. I was done. I was done for. Instantly, my head goes, oh my gosh, he's gay. He was just sitting there hysterically laughing. And then he goes, I'm just not that kind of guy. Then I get offended, and I'm like, what do you mean not that type of guy? Like, I wasn't trying to, it's not like I was trying to do anything. I was trying to go in for a kiss. Like, what do you mean? I don't even think I let him finish. I don't even let him finish talking. So I grab my backpack, I run inside, and my phone was dead, and I think my charger had broken, so I had to wait to go to the store to get a charger for the next day. So my phone dies, and I have never been happier in my entire life. Like, literally never been happier. So then I go inside, I'm sobbing. I'm running up the stairs to get to my mom's place, and I'm just crying. And then I go inside, and she's like, oh, how you doing? You know, how was it? And I'm sitting there crying, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna marry him. Why did I say that? I don't know. That wasn't a normal thing to say after you had just gotten turned down, and ran out of the car crying. But then I proceeded to open up my backpack, and it gets worse because I realized that I still have his knife, his rope, and all of his belongings. So I'm like, crap. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to text him in the morning. So then the next day rolls around, and I finally get a charger. I charge my phone, and this man has sent me a novel. He's like, I've never received a message this long in my entire life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, stop being so obsessed with me. No, I'm just kidding. But I was so nervous to read it because I thought that he was either A, gonna be really mad, offended, or he was just gonna, like, completely destroy me. But it was actually none of the above. It was unlike anything that I had ever received before. So it was actually a really sweet message, and he was going into how he just thought that I deserved to be treated more, like he wanted to be extremely respectful, how he was a Christian, and he just didn't want to, like, overstep his boundaries, how he was waiting till marriage, and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so sweet. So then I text back a message, and I'm like, you know, oh, that makes so much sense, blah, blah, blah. And then I get another message after that, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but I read it along the lines, because I asked at the end, I was like, well, do you still, like, want to try, like, you're leaving, do you still want to, like, try to pursue this, or do you not want to? And I read it, it was a very short message, it was only, like, a few words, but I read it as he doesn't want to pursue this. So I immediately, I'm just like, dang, like, I messed it up. Like, this guy was just a Christian. He wasn't gay. You know, there's nothing wrong with him. He was just a little weird. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so I was like, okay, I completely messed that up. So then I go to work, and I'm trying to put it out of my mind. I had my grandmother read it. I had my mom read it. I had all my coworkers read it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my goodness. And so then it wasn't until one of my friends grabs the phone and she's like, well, what did you respond with? And then she goes and continues reading our messages. And she's like, why are you so upset? And I was like, what do you mean, why am I so upset? I was like, he literally just said that he doesn't want to pursue anything after he said all this nice stuff, after he did all this, like, who goes above and beyond on a date like that to not want to pursue anything after, you know, like, I know I messed it up, but I don't think I messed it up that bad. And then she tells me that the message said that he did want to continue talking to me. And instantly I was humbled, and I was like, crap, I've been leaving this guy unread all day. Like, he must have so many mixed messages, and how am I gonna make up for this? Well, long story short, I did make up for it, and now we're married with 4 kids. So yeah, that was, out of all, I look back and I'm like, out of all the dates that I've ever been on, that was a date that humbled me the most. So yeah, we laugh about it now, but it was not funny in the moment. And I didn't even finish my makeup, but yeah, that's the story.
Story time on my worst first date ever, and let me be the lesson to you. Women out there, do not go on a date with a man who has been begging in your DMs for months, years, couple weeks. If that man has been on the hunt for months, don't go on a date with him. I really feel like he's just like, because when you finally accept it, it's like, oh, bitch, you didn't want me a couple months ago, you didn't want me a year ago. Oh, bitch, I'm gonna show you. And it's the worst day ever. It's happened to me twice. So let's just get into the story of what happened. Okay, so this happened about, it doesn't really matter when it happened. I think it happened about almost a year ago at this point. But this story, I got reminded of it because he started liking my Instagram story a couple days ago. Bitch, you owe me money. We're gonna get into, let me stop spoiling the story time, but let's just get into the story time, right? So, okay, he DMs me, or I can't remember if he got me off a Hinge, or I'm not on dating apps anymore, but I can't remember if he got me off a Hinge or whatever. But we're messaging back and forth. We're just gonna get straight into when the date happened. So, going this date, right? He's texting me like, cause it got rescheduled maybe like 2 times or whatever. One time was my fault. Second time, I don't really remember. But so first date, we get to this first date, right? He told me we were going to a museum, and then we were gonna go to dinner after, and then that was it, right? Mind you, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. People who live in Cincinnati, guess where we went? We went to the 21C museum / hotel. If anyone in Cincinnati knows, that is not a museum, it's a hotel that has like 1 floor of like museum art decor in it. So I didn't know that at the time because I'm just a little bit slow. So I get there and I'm like, this is not a museum. So then we walk through there, and I'm kind of annoyed because, mind you, I don't really want to go on a museum date on a first date because it's just like, you don't really know the person, you don't really know the vibes, like you joke about stuff. It's just like you're just walking through a gallery with somebody you don't know. So after about like 20 minutes of walking through there, I was like, can we go to the restaurant that we were going to go to? Mind you, oh my gosh, I forgot. Let's rewind. Before the date, he was like 30 minutes late. So I get in my car, I'm there, I park my car or whatever, and I don't ever like really go inside of places before the person gets there. So I'm just sitting in my car, and I was like, are you here? And he was like, I'm parking now. And I was like, okay. Man, dude, it was like this date was on like a Wednesday, Thursday. It's not, bitch, we're downtown. It's not, you can find a parking spot downtown. It's not a Friday, Saturday night, right? So it's like, he's parking for like 30 minutes, and he was like, I'm like 15 minutes later after he told me he's parking, he texted me like, I'm in a parking lot right now. And I was just like, okay. And he was like, are you inside? And I was like, no, I'm sitting in my car. So then I finally see him walking into the building. So that's when I get inside. So let's get back to it. So we're back. We left the hotel. Don't ever take me to no hotel oh my gosh. Anyways, the restaurant, everything was like relatively close to each other within like a 5-minute walk. So we walked to this restaurant, poorly planned. We get to the restaurant, guess what? It's closed. It's fucking closed. So I was like, I don't know, y'all. I be having to see it through sometimes. So we walk past one of like my favorite bars downtown. I think it's called Righteous Room. I can't remember how's in my favorite bar. I can't remember the name of it. I know what it looks like, but we get to the bar or whatever, right? And so I go inside. Mind you, the doorman's not out there at first because it's a Wednesday, Thursday. He doesn't need to be sitting out there the whole time. So I sit at the bar. Mind you, it's like me and him, and then it's like one other. It's barely anybody in there. So bartender immediately comes up to us, and then the doorman ends up coming out like, oh, can I see y'all IDs real quick? mind you, I have my ID because, again, I'm an adult. So, I have my ID, right? He's, like, looking like, he's like, I think my ID's in my car. So now I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, so then he's like, I'm gonna go get your flowers out the car and I'm gonna go get my ID out the car. And I was like, okay. So then I'm sitting at the bar and, mind you, we were in this bar for less than a minute. And then he's like, the bartender, he's like, I get a vodka soda. This is important. This is important to the story, right? So I end up getting a, drink and he was like, are you gonna keep an open tab? And I was like, yeah, because I thought we were gonna be like chilling here for a minute. He was like, okay, I just need a card for it. I was like, I'm gonna give you my card. I'm not paying for this. This is just so you can hold it, because I was getting kind of irritated. I'm like, I need a drink before he comes back. So I get a drink, right? He takes my card. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna run your card or whatever, right? Very important. So after that, he comes back. He's like, I don't have my ID, and then he has this big bouquet of flowers. I'm gonna put it in here. It was a really nice bouquet of flowers. So it was like, I think. Anyways, they ended up just letting him stay in the bar, right? Because we were both old enough to be in the bar. So so we're at the bar. I get like, we maybe got like and before he came back inside, I told the bartender, I was like, yeah, it's not really good. And he was like, yeah, I could tell. And mind you, the bartender, he wasn't trying to talk to me. He was just being nice. He was like, yeah, he seemed weird. How are you already giving out weird vibes to people who have seen you for less than a total of 60-second interaction? So let's just fast forward. We get about a couple rounds of drinks or whatever. Like, he's cool, or no, actually he wasn't cool. We're like talking about like regular stuff. I don't know how we ended up getting into politics on a first date. This was before the election and everything. So we're getting into politics, and he's like, I don't remember how we got into it, but it got to the point to where I found out this man was a Trump supporter. Mind you, he's black. This is not a white man. This is a young black man. He's like maybe like the same age as me. So we were kind of going back and forth about that, because I'm like, nah, that's weird. Like, that's actually very strange. So then we're like going back and forth. Eventually, date closes out, right? And he's like, I was like, okay, like they're like, y'all ready to close out? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So then the bartender, because I was talking to the bar, it was like kind of becoming like a 3-people conversation, like the bartender, him, and then me. So he ends up running my credit card, and then he realized right when he did, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then I was like, it's cool. I was like, you can just Apple Pay me, whatever. And then, long story short, I ended up leaving the date, because I'd never planned on seeing this man again. But I was like, are you gonna manage this bill? It wasn't expensive. It was for like a couple of drinks, but it was like $75, which like I didn't plan on paying for. So I was like, hey, can you Apple Pay me? Never. He was like, ignored the message that whole night. Then the next day he texted me like, can I just give it to you in cash? I like knew at this point I wasn't gonna get my money, so I was like, yeah. And I was like, can I come get it today? Because, man, dude, this was my credit card. I don't use my credit card, and my credit card bill was due that day. So I was like, I want the money back. So then he's like, yeah, I don't get off work until like 9 o'clock. I was like, I can come get it. So then he basically gave me the runaround. Long story short, he was just trying to gaslight me. It was like a couple days later, and I was like, can you send me my money? He was like, I'm gonna send it to you, but what you gotta be acting all weird for? Mind you, I wasn't doing anything. I was not doing anything but ask him to give me my money back. And then long story short, he did not give it back to me. I went on a trip to New York like a week later. He texted me like a week, the day I got back from New York, like, hope you enjoyed your trip. Like, the money's been sitting in my mailbox the whole time you've been on your trip. I don't believe him. And I wasn't gonna go to his house, and I was like, so I texted him, I was like, is it still in there now? Because, mind you, he lived like maybe 5-6 minutes away from me. So I was like, is it still there now? And I was like, if I don't get a response in like the next 5 minutes, I'm just gonna not respond. And then I was like, if I don't get a response like in the next few minutes, I'm just gonna block you. And I didn't get a response, so I blocked his number. He makes a text now number to text me. He was like, man, I really shouldn't even have to pay for the day because the flowers I bought you were more expensive than the day. Just say you didn't have the money. Please, just say that. Why do we have to do this whole little run around about $75? Mind you, I made nail tech. I didn't need the money that bad. I make that from one client. So, long story short, he didn't give me the money, and yeah, that's the whole story. But yeah, don't go on dates with people who you don't like just doing it for the plot. Never do anything for the plot, because the plot there'll be some bullshit, honestly. But yeah, I'm gonna attach, that's it. I was gonna put his Instagram in here to be messy, but I don't want to do that. Shit, I might do it. Just give me a couple comments to tell me to do it, and shit, I might.
Story time on the worst date ever. I deleted my Hinge account after this. I highly don't recommend. So I met this guy on Hinge, and at first he was pretty cool. We messaged for a few days. And so finally he was like, let's go on a date. Let's go bowling. So I was like, okay, cool, we can go bowling. I'll just meet you there. So he was like, all right. This is when I knew, this is when shit turned left extremely quick, and I should have known this was a red flag. This man literally went on my Instagram from like years ago and took an old picture of me in some dang on heels and a hat and was like, hey, can you wear this to the bowling alley? So he's like, you know, I think this picture is fly. You know, you got on heels, you got on the hat, and I want you to be fly. Like, I think you should wear that. And I'm like, I don't even know where this outfit is. This is years ago. I haven't worn this outfit in forever, and we're going bowling. I want to be chill. I want to wear some sneakers and some jeans or something. Steadily pressing me about this outfit. We going back and forth, and I'm just like, boy, I'm wearing what I want. So anyways, you know, I end up meeting him at the bowling alley, and I see him. I walk up to him, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you? I'm Ariel. And the first thing he does is he says, you're really short. Straight like that, he looked me up and down. No, hey, no, how you doing? Nice to meet you. He said, you're really short. And then he walked away and he was like, I'm gonna go get some shoes. Instantly, I'm turned off because I have never in my life had a man tell me that I was short and complain about it. Usually men like it, but instantly I'm like, oh, I'm so turned off. And I know how this is gonna be. So we go get the shoes and we find our lane, and dude has an attitude off jump. He's like, you could have came in here looking fly. Like, I like my girls to look fly, and that's not fly what you got on. So I'm just looking at the dude. I'm not saying nothing. The dude from New York, so he was already pretty, like, aggressive. And so he, like, asking me questions like, where you from? Where you grew up at? Real aggressive. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with this man? Like, kind of acting crazy. And so then he goes on back on a tangent about how short I am. He's like, you real short. Like, you just real short. So finally, I'm like, okay, so what? Like, men love that I'm short. And he's like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, actually. And like, I'm throwing the ball or whatever. And he's like, you're not really good at this. Like, you suck. You're not good at bowling at all. And he like snatches the ball from me. So at this point, I'm like low-key scared. So I end the day early. I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go home. Like, I got a long day tomorrow. I got to get up because it was in the middle of the week. And so I get home, and before I get a chance to block him, because that was my intentions, he calls me, and he's like blowing up my phone, and he's asking me to come over. And I'm like, oh yeah, this dude is mentally insane. I blocked him, and I deleted my Hinge, and I never got back on Hinge after that. It scarred me for life. But also, I was like nervous to go on dates because I was thinking that men was gonna think I was too short. So I didn't go on dates for months after that. Now I'm in a happy relationship, so it doesn't even matter anymore. So yeah, just be careful on Hinge.
Let's talk about the worst date I've ever been on. This one is always a key to me because I feel like nothing could truly top this date, but I would hate for God to, like, you know, while I'm doing this, we're gonna be moisturizing. Okay, for starters, I'm not gonna lie, when people were asking me, can I take you out, can we go on dates, I was saying yes to everybody. I was saying yes to everybody. He was gonna come pick me up and we were gonna go to Asamiya Cookies. I think that's how you say it. So boom, he's like, I'm here, I come outside, and all I can hear is and it's his car, and it's like jittering really fucking hard. You know me, I'm trying not to judge, so I'm just like, you know, my car jitters, like, it's nothing big of a deal. When I put him in the car, he was like, I'm sorry about my car, like, it's a little fucked up. And I'm just like, no, it's okay, it's cool. I hop in and I sit down, right? You smell so good, your hair's so nice, you look so good, you look so pretty, like in a chill, low-key way. And then he was like, I just can't believe you're here, like, I can't believe, like, it's like he was in disbelief that I was in his car. He was in such disbelief that he was driving. I'm gonna act like I'm him. Yeah, you look so pretty. Driving and staring at me at the same damn time, guys. I was so fucking scared. The whole entire time we were in the car, I noticed this, like, peculiar smell, and I just couldn't put my finger on what the fuck it was, right? I'm telling him to slow down because there's this pothole that's big as fuck at the end of the street, and he does not know. And I know he doesn't know because he doesn't live in the area. He was just like, no, I got this. I'm gonna slow down. By the time he tried to even slow down, we already hit the pothole, y'all. I thought we fucking blew up in that car together. His car started making a new sound. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck that smell is. It's like it keeps appearing and disappearing, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is that? It smelled like shit almost, so I was thinking maybe it's just his car. Anyways, we get to the cookie place. We start ordering, and he immediately hops in front of me. Like, oh, he's gonna pay for me. No. He swipes his card and says, are you ready to order? Cool. Cookies are only $3? Cool. Okay, cool though. I ordered 12-pack minis. So those cookies, if you know, they take a while because they're so tiny. He gets his cookies, he devours them the whole entire time I'm waiting. The whole entire time he's talking to me, I'm starting to realize, oh my god, the smell followed. That smells your fucking breath. Done. Cut the date. I'm a very blunt person, so I'm pretty sure I probably brought it up to him because he was trying to kiss me or something like that. And I just asked him, did you brush your teeth today? And he was kind of like, what?
And I don't think he took it the best way. So, like, after that, I just remember the ride home being awkward as fuck. I remember him not even looking at me. And I remember him driving fast as fuck to my house to try to get me home. I remember when I got the car, he didn't even, like, gesture to try to hug me or anything. He was just ready to leave. Because I think I hurt his feelings genuinely. But why the fuck would you come on a date without brushing your teeth? Like, literally after that, there were no more text messages. He did not want to pursue me anymore. I did not want to pursue him. But thank God. But I think he blocked me when he got home. But I didn't care.
First date I ever went on, the guy lied about his age. We met on a dating app and he was a good 10 years older than what his dating profile said. But I didn't find that out until I was already on the date with him. So this guy invites me to a Forbes event. I don't think much of it because he's a music executive. I imagine they go to Forbes events all the time. Now, I ain't never been to a Forbes event before. So I meet him at this hotel, which the Forbes event is supposed to be at. It's not a Forbes event. Salsa lessons. That's not what I want to do on a first date. I don't even like dancing in front of people unless I'm like 3 shots in. I don't know if this was like a part of his grand plan or not because he seemed pretty confused by it too. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. We just talked for a while and boy could he talk. He was a talker, child. I know his whole life story. He works in music. I know that he discovered this famous band that I don't really give a shit about. And he told me about how he's writing a movie. It's just a lot. You want to get to know somebody, but damn, ask me a question or two. After a while, I'm just kind of over it. I'm like, I am hungry. I need to eat. It just so happens my favorite restaurant is like right up the street. It's called Sugarfish. I basically just tell him, I'm about to go to this restaurant. Here's where I went wrong. I invited him. I was like, you can come. We're in the Uber to the restaurant. Have you ever had that moment when you're hanging out with someone and you decide that this will be your last time ever seeing them? This man says the whitest shit to me. He tells me no woman can ever come between him and his dog. His dog has to sleep in the bed with him every night. You don't like his dog, you don't like him. It was just weird he said that because like we weren't even talking about dogs. It was just like he felt the urge to like, before we proceed, you need to know this. Mind you, I was never gonna sleep in his bed anyways. What? Like do girls be trying to come between? I don't know. I just want no parts. Like at dinner, he made a point to tell me that like he normally doesn't do this. And I was like, what do you mean by this? Like go out on dates? And he was like, no, take women to restaurants. He had this whole theory about how like, when you take a woman to a restaurant, she's gonna take a picture of her food and she won't take a picture of the guy. And I'm like, do you want women to like take pictures of you along with their food? And it's just weird. I just don't like people with weird philosophies that don't make sense. This man blows up my phone the next day, pretty much talking at me because he never asked me like how I'm doing. He just like rambles about his day. And I'm like, I can't. I basically tell him, hey, I don't think we're compatible. You didn't really ask me any questions about myself. Like, you haven't even asked me how I'm doing. And he's like, all you LA girls are the same. Like, what in the world? He goes on and he's like, and I was gonna try to write you into my movie. And I'm just like, so do you want me to like stick around, pretend to like you? Because you're writing a movie. Like all he did was talk about how clouded he is, how much money he has. And I'm like, you're the same guy who's complaining about girls in LA being gold diggers, but all you've showed me is your gold. What am I supposed to be attracted to? Your dog?
I'm so sorry that I kept you guys waiting, but I seriously was living the situation up until a couple of hours ago. Quick recap, I went out with a guy that I matched with on Hinge on Saturday night, and it ended up going absolutely terrible. So it's me and my friend. He tells us to show up to his Airbnb at a certain time to pregame with like all the rest of his friends. Right when we get there, off the bat, the vibes are off. There's like 3 other girls there. They're getting ready. I introduce myself. Like I walk up the stairs and I'm like, hi guys, like I'm Winnie, nice to meet you, because I'm not the bitch that's not about to say hi. When they said hi, it was just like very cold, very annoying. And the Hinge match kept saying like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I had to bring you guys into this vibe. Let's go up to the roof and just like drink there. So we go up to the rooftop. He's chatting about how it's his birthday, how he had rented this Airbnb and how they were being absolutely terrible. Like they didn't care that it was his birthday. They didn't want to go to any of the places that he wanted to go. And I felt really bad. So me and my friend, we were like, look, just hang out with us. Like, we're going to go out, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to celebrate your birthday. I did start to notice, though, that he was starting to pay more attention to my friend, like ask her more questions and just be a little bit more intrigued in her life. It's not really important to the story, but I just wanted to give you guys, like, the vibes. So it's me, my friend, Hinge guy, his friend. He really wanted to go to this club called Havana. So it's his birthday. We're like, you know, we're going to do whatever you want to do. His friend calls the Uber. We go down from the roof and we leave and we get in the Uber. The moment we get out of the Uber, I realize that I didn't have my purse. So I'm looking around for my purse. I'm looking at them. I'm like, guys, I don't have my purse. The Uber is driven away. Can you try messaging the Uber? I'm talking to his friend at this point because his friend's the one that called the Uber. Like, can you try messaging him and asking him if the purse is in there? He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But chances are your purse is probably in the house. You probably left it there or you probably left it on the rooftop. I was like, you know what? You know, at this point, I was a little bit tipsy. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, probably. Honestly, it's probably there. So like, no big deal. I also really did not want to ruin this man's birthday and make it about myself. So I was kind of just like, okay, like hopefully it's at the house. It probably is. And then we can just have a good night. We're at Havana. We're having a good time. I kind of noticed that like at this point that he's like really interested in my friend. So I'm starting to just get like turned off. I'm like, okay, like whatever, you know, it is what it is. After a couple hours, we were lit. We were like, let's head back to the Airbnb. And here's where shit got stressful because it escalated so fast. The moment we get back to his Airbnb, he's like, shh, shh, be quiet. You have to be quiet. The girls are sleeping. Like, don't say a peep. Like, don't say a word. He's not even letting us stay in the house. He's literally saying, go back up to the roof where it's cold as hell. We were drinking. He's like, shh, shh. Every little thing we say, if we giggle, if we talk, he would be like, shh, shh, shh. Meanwhile, we weren't even being loud. Like, we were trying to be as respectful as we possibly could be. But it was the fact that every little noise we made, this man was like, guys, you guys are being too loud. It was like, honestly, it just gave me, like, it gave me the ick. Like, we get up to the roof, we're talking, we're telling him, like, how cold we are and how we want to go back inside. And so he's like, fine, like, let's go downstairs. I'm thinking he's going to take us to the kitchen. No. He takes us down one flight of stairs because there's 3 flights of stairs in this condo. It's like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 rooftop. He takes us down the first flight of stairs and like pushes us into his room and locks the door and like closes the door. It was at this moment that I remembered that I still hadn't found or looked for my purse. So I tell him, I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot to look for my purse. Have you talked to the Uber? I look at his friend and I'm like, hey, have you talked to the Uber driver? Have you heard anything? He's like, no, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, can I go and like look in your kitchen? Maybe I left it on the roof. He looks me dead in my eye and is like, shh, shh, no, you can't, no. I'm looking at him in shock and disbelief. I'm like, what do you mean no? I need to find my purse. My keys to my home are in there and the keys to my car are in there. If I don't find them, like I'm literally stuck. He proceeds to tell me again, no, I'm sorry, but you can't go look. By this point, his friend had left the room and disappeared. It'd been like 20 or 30 minutes now. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, can we try to contact the Uber? Like, can we please do something? Because us just sitting here and you guys just staring at me is stressing me out. Like I'm getting nervous. Like I need to find my shit. At this point, I'm starting to cry. Him and my friend are sitting on the bed. I'm like scooched into a corner, like balled up, crying. Him and my friend are looking at me like I'm fucking insane. I am pleading with this man to please let me go check the roof. Let me go check the kitchen. Like let me just leave this room. And he's still saying no. At this point, I don't feel like my friend is supporting me at all and it's 2 against 1 and I'm feeling very, very ganged up on. So I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the bathroom because there was a bathroom attached to the room. I'm like, and you guys can sit here and I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to call Corey, my baby daddy. I go into the bathroom because talking to them is not helping. I am still drunk and I'm trying my hardest to still be respectful to this man. So I go into the bathroom, I call Corey crying. Corey is like stressed out. He's like, what's going on? What's happening? I'm telling him what's happening. I'm like, I'm trying to tell them I need to find my keys. I need to find my car keys, you know, and my house keys because I can't get into my house. Like I'm explaining this to Corey. Corey's like, I don't understand. Like, what's the issue? Like, why can't you look for your shit? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, no one's listening to me, dude. Not even my friend. Like she wasn't even listening to me. Yes, I was intoxicated, but at the same time, like, I'm still very much aware that I needed to find my shit. My friend whips open the bathroom door and she's like, we can hear you talking out here. Like, we can hear you talking shit. And I'm like, okay, but you guys are not helping me. So I had to call Corey to be like, hey, come help me because they're not helping me. I felt like no one was listening to me. It was giving like angry black women freaking out for no reason. At that point, I was really mad at my friend. I had cussed her out because I was like, leave me alone. She ends up storming off. I think she ends up like leaving the room and she's like, fuck it, I'm out of here. She storms off. She leaves. I'm sitting there like crying to Corey, like, hey, like, what do I do? I'm still begging this man, like, can I please just go check? Like, let me just go look. He's still saying no. About 5 minutes later, my friend tries to call me and tells me like, let's go. I called the Uber and I'm sitting here like, no, I already called my child's father. I don't want to hop in the car with you and just be screaming at each other. Like, I'm not arguing with you about this. Like, I'm not doing it. So I completely was like, you go. So she ends up leaving. And another reason why I didn't want to leave is because I still didn't have my shit, right? Like, they didn't even live in Georgia. The moment I would have left, I would have never heard from them again. So I'm talking to the Hinge guy. It's just me and him at this point. And I'm like, can you go ask your friend if the Uber driver has said anything? Like, give me the Uber driver's number. Like, I will go, but like, I need some connection so that I can try to get my purse back. He's screaming back at me like, why are you blaming us? Like, we didn't do anything. He's talking about him and my friend. He's like, we didn't do anything and you're getting mad at us. And I'm sitting here like, I'm not getting mad at you guys. I am just like asking for empathy. Like, help me find my bag. Like, actually care at the fact that I lost my shit. I do take responsibility for losing my shit. That's all on me, but I'm just asking for you to maybe care? Like, what? I really did try to fit this whole story into 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to go to part 2. This is part 2 of me meeting up with a guy on Hinge and it going terribly wrong. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, please go back and watch it. It will be the video right before this one. At this point, I am still bawling and crying to this man, and some other guy, some random guy that hasn't been there the entire night shows up and he's like, you gotta go. Like, you need to leave. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to explain to him. I'm like, I just need my purse. Like, my car is out there. It's parked in front of an abandoned house. It's a little bit ghetto. I can't leave my car here. I can't get into my home. I have nowhere to go. Can you please just like talk to the guy who ordered the Uber or help me find my damn purse? Hinge guy and his friend are like, no, you gotta go. You gotta get out. They are pushing me down like the stairs. Like, they are, both of them are like, you gotta go. You gotta go now. Corey's still on the phone. This entire time, I had still stayed respectful. Like, I still wasn't screaming. I still wasn't loud. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. At that point, knowing that my shit was about to be lost to the void, I was fucking livid. I look straight at Hinge guy and I'm like, God is gonna see this. Like, the karma that you're gonna get for doing this when all you have to do was help me find my purse or let me look in your house. Like, you're gonna, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs at this point because I'm livid. I'm like, dude, have some empathy, like compassion, something. You could literally see the fear on this man's face. He was like, I didn't do anything. Like, you know, it's not my fault you lost your purse. And it's like, it's literally not about that. It's the fact that you won't even help me find it. At this point, I'm not explaining this to him. I'm just like popping off. Because at this point, they had kicked me out on the doorstep and had closed the door. I am bawling to Corey at this point because losing your keys and losing your house keys is like it's such a traumatic experience. I can't even explain it. It's happened to me. It's happened to me once before and it's like the worst feeling ever. Corey took about an hour to get there because he lives a little bit further from Atlanta than I do. But in between that time, I ended up calling the non-emergency line and they ended up coming out and knocking on the door and literally were like, well, if they don't answer, there's literally nothing we can do. Corey picks me up, which for those of you guys who don't know, Corey is my child's father. He picks me up. He's being super nice to me. He's being super optimistic. He's like telling me like, it's going to be okay. You're just drinking right now. So it's like everything's super heightened. It's going to be fine. But trust me, like I felt like such an idiot. Like I felt like such a failure. I was like, oh my God, I literally can't even get into my own house. He ends up dropping me off at my sister's house and I end up sleeping on her couch that night. But I was so mad. Like I was still so angry. I literally sent that man a voice note and I was like, I'm not proud of this, but I was mad, okay? I was like, listen, my dad is Ghanaian, I'm African, like, I'm gonna put a hex on you, like, you're gonna wish you're gonna rue the day. At this point, he had unmatched me on everything. He had blocked me on Instagram. I had to just take the L and move on and admit that I fucked up. The next day, I literally had to go back to the location. I had to hire a locksmith to get a new car key made. Corey helped me get into my house, change my locks, and then after all of that was done, I get a text message from Hinge guy. He sends me a message and he's like, good news, the Uber driver has your purse. He told me that I have to pay $80 for him to bring it back. So just letting you know that you can come pick it up as soon as I get home. Can't tell you guys how happy I was that my purse was found. He sent that text message and then ghosted me for like 5 hours. By the time that he replied back, it was 11 o'clock at night, and he was like, my bad, I was out, but it's at my house if you want to come pick it up. Well, I'm with my son at that point, so like, no, I can't come pick it up, but I'll come pick it up in the morning. He's like, all right, bet, come before 9:30 a.m. So a couple of hours ago, I drove back to the location in Atlanta, and I picked up my purse. My Shayla. My Shayla. I'm so happy to see this thing. And everything was in it. I'd already canceled my cards and everything. But I'm so happy. Now I have an extra key. Like, and when I got there to pick it up, he kept saying that he did his good deed. And that, like, he was like, I don't know why you were blaming me, but like, just letting you know, like, I had to pay $80 to get that back here. Like, I've done my good deed. And I'm literally sitting here thinking that he's probably stressed out and thinks that I'm really gonna put a damn hex on him, because the way he was acting was like, he was afraid of me. Anyway, I didn't even argue with him. I grabbed my purse. I got out of there. Honestly, don't know what I would have done without my baby daddy, without Corey. So huge shout out to that man. Anyway, I will not be doing this again anytime soon. A lot of you guys were asking what happened to my friend in the last video. Supposedly, she had called the Uber and then went back to my place because that's where her car was parked. The next day, she ended up reaching out to my son because she was trying to get in touch with Corey. I genuinely don't know why she didn't call me, but I ended up calling her. We had a conversation. I did not get an apology. In fact, it was kind of still the vibe of, you were being absolutely insane. So that was that. She still has some things at my house that she needs to pick up that she left that night. So I'm keeping the peace until then. But after that, nah, I'm done. Like, I'm literally done. I can't lie to y'all. Like, I am really sad about this. She's someone that I did call a friend. I've known her for a very, very long time. So it does hurt my feelings, and it does make me feel like shit that I trusted this person and they kind of just didn't care about me. And I think another reason why I'm so upset is because I have been such a supportive friend. Whenever, you know, she vents or she tells me certain things, I listen, I console her. And it's like the one time that I really needed her, she literally couldn't even be there for me. I feel like I'm also in a scarcity mindset. Like, it's hard to make friends at my age. It's hard to make friends at any time. I feel like I'm just not, you know, like, I'm not gonna be able to make more friends or replace my friends. So I'm just feeling a little bit like, I don't know, sad. Also, a couple of other things I noticed that people were talking about, and some people were being like, I would have fought my way out the room, I would have screamed. When someone's already looking at you like they're afraid of you, like you're literally Medusa, the last thing I'm gonna do is try fighting him and his friends, which there was a lot of his friends, okay? It just, the purse isn't worth it at that point. And I could read the room. That was not the right thing to do, especially being intoxicated. Oh, another thing, I also did not consider that a date at all. I was more of like going to just say fuck it and YOLO. Didn't consider that to turn into anything. Also saw a lot of comments and people were being like, I would have called the police and said they were trying to steal my stuff. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. They showed up, they knocked on the door. The police officer looked me dead in the eye and was like, if they don't answer, there's nothing we can do. And he drove the fuck off in his cop car. There is something in my gut that is telling me that the purse was there the entire time. And I also believe that the hex that I threatened him with worked. It's a new year. I am still staying positive. You know, it's only up and on from here. All right, bye. Love ya.